In the last video, we looked at the areas candidates will be tested when they get to comprehension section. Under the comprehension questions, these areas will be tested to understand the skills each candidate possesses in terms of reading and understanding a passage. These test skills include tests for understanding of the message in a passage, tests for ability for grammatical analysis, tests for ability for determination of figures of speech, tests for word replacement of Lexis. We've been able to do the two tests for understanding of the messages in a passage. What is comprehension all about is to test the candidate's understanding of the passage and how a candidate is able to interpret it in their own words, not going outside what has been written in the passage. Also, when we talk about the test for ability for grammatical analysis talks about the sentence structure, how elements of sentences are put together in terms of correctness and clarity, where we talked about the syntax and the grammatical elements used in arranging our sentences or in making or writing sentences. Now we are going to be looking at the last two, which is test for ability for determination of figures of speech and test for word replacements of Lexis. The third skill that will be tested is test for the determination of figures of speech. What are figures of speech? Figures of speech are just words we used. They are words we use to create mental image when speaking or writing. Sometimes they are usually called figurative expressions. It adds beauty, color, and even meaning, intended meaning in the words that we speak. Some of these figures of speech that are normally asked include simile. Simile talks about an indirect comparison using like or as. For example, if I make this statement, she fought like a lion in the fight. This adds color. It explains indirectly how this particular girl has fought in a fight. So anytime you are given an expression and you are asked to identify the figures of speech, look for the presence of like or as. If the sentence is having like or as, then know that this is a simile example. Another figures of speech that often asked include metaphor. If simile is an indirect comparison, that means metaphor is a direct comparison. Still using the same sentence, she fought like a lion in the fight. I don't need to use like or as. Just directly say it. That means she was a lion in the fight. You can see the difference between simile and metaphor. One is indirect with the use of like or as, while the other says it as it is. Directly is a direct comparison. We also have the likes of personification, which tries to express intention using animate characteristics to express inanimate feelings. In personification, inanimate objects are given life through the use of animate characteristics. Attributes of animate things, attributes of living things are transferred to such expression to give it life. For example, we could say the trees are smiling or the sun is smiling. The sun is smiling shows that it is very bright, clear, and shining. So the attributes of a living is taken or is transferred to this sun, is transferred to inanimate object. We also have so many like irony, pun, sarcasm, and paradox. If you need more explanation on this, I have a video on that. Check my description box. You will see the figures of speech lesson which I've done. The last skill that will be tested includes test for word replacement of Lexis. Test for word replacement of Lexis. When you talk about Lexis, we are talking about array of words or vocabulary we used. This could include jargon, idiomatic expression, depending on what you are asked. So normally you are asked to replace a word or phrase to fit in exactly as it is in the passage. So what do you do as a candidate? Make sure here candidates are asked to replace some bold face. Normally the word will be in italic or a bold-faced type word or phrase. You are asked to replace it. So what do you do in that case? You must make sure as a candidate it concisely fits into the exact point from where such words or phrases are isolated in a given passage. Normally, the word is picked from the passage, if from the comprehension passage. So what do you do as a candidate? You go back to the passage, look at the exact sentence, what is used there, then you are able to isolate it and fit in properly the exact word. Normally, the replacements could be replacement of nouns. We could be asked to use another word or phrase to express a particular noun. It could be verbs, forms of verbs, which could be simple past tense, past continuous, simple present tense, and so on. So you must be able to understand the type of verb that is used in the passage. So if you are going to replace it, make sure it is the correct form of verb that will be inserted when you place that word exactly in the passage. Also, we could have replacement of degree of adjectives. Of course, we know your adjectives. If you need more clarity on this part of speech, I have explicit video on that, on part of speech ranging from noun to verb to personification and so on. So the thing is, make sure what you are replacing fits in the part of speech you are asked to do. Or a phrase, degree of adjectives or adverbs. Only one word or phrase must be supplied. Take note of this. Only one word or phrase. You don't use two. You don't use three. You don't use three phrases. Only one word or phrase. If you've checked through your words, your vocabulary, you cannot use the exact word, or you're unable to get the exact word, then go over to your phrase. Make sure the phrase too expresses itself, so when it's placed back in the passage, it fits accordingly. So far, we have looked at the tests of skills that normally candidates are tested on concerning comprehension passage. The test skills include understanding of the passage, understanding of the grammatical analysis, understanding your figures of speech, and also ability to replace Lexis. Ability to replace the vocabulary you are asked, ranging from nouns to verbs to adverbs and adjectives. Please do well to like and share this broadcast. Please stay tuned for more topics, more exciting topics as far as this examination series is concerned. If you have any comment, please put them below in the comment section and let me know how far you have been preparing as candidates who is about to sit for this exam. I wish you all the best in your preparation. Till I meet with you in my next video, keep reading, keep being the best version of yourself. Bye.